Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. For today's video, I will be showing you a recipe that I've been wanting to show you guys for a very long time out of this cookbook called Tasty Dessert. I got this cookbook for Christmas. I'm a really big fan of the Tasty cookbooks. Tasty is I'm going to say like a branch of BuzzFeed, and it's their food branch. And I'm a really big fan of all of their cookbooks. I highly recommend those cookbooks. And today I will be making a recipe out of this cookbook right here. And I will be making one of my family's favorite things that I have made personally, called One Brownie 100 Different Ways. And I know what you're thinking, 100 ways to make one brownie. It's insane, but it's super delicious, super easy. I will put the recipe and the mix-ins. The mix-ins are the 100 ways. So I'll put a picture of those right here. And if you couldn't see the different mix-ins, I will read them out to you. So they have different sections of the mix-ins. You have the 1 cup, you have the 2, I believe that's a tablespoon, and then you have the half cup section. So out of the 1 cup, you could use stuff like dark chocolate, chopped walnuts, pecans, peanuts, almonds, pistachios, macadamias, chopped hazelnuts, M&Ms, Swedish fish, animal crackers, peppermint candy, that sort of thing, for 1 cup. And then for 2 tablespoons, this section's kind of weird. It has stuff like sesame seeds, chia seeds, cayenne pepper, and then dried lavender. Those are just some. I'll just actually read them out. So we have sesame seeds, candied ginger, chia seeds, freshly grated orange zest, flaky sea salt, cayenne pepper, matcha powder, and then the dried lavender. And then the 1/2 cup, this is the one that I like to make. We have cream cheese, stuff like cream cheese, Nutella, cookie butter, raspberry jam, orange marmalade, blueberry jam, marshmallow fluff, tahini, dulce de leche, almond butter, candied pumpkin canned pumpkin puree, and then the one that I like, peanut butter, and that will be the one that I will show y'all today. Okay, so here are all the ingredients. You don't need a computer for this, but for this recipe you will need 1 1/4 cup of butter, 8 ounces of semi-sweet or bittersweet chocolate, coarsely chopped. For me, I like to use chocolate chips because they're already small as is. 3/4 cup cocoa powder. You can use Dutch process. I just use regular cocoa powder. In this, it calls for espresso powder, but me and my family don't like espresso, so I'm not adding the espresso. That's kind of optional. 2 cups granulated sugar, 1/2 cup of dark brown sugar, 2 teaspoons of kosher salt. I just have regular salt here. 2 teaspoons of vanilla, 6 large eggs, 1 cup of all-purpose flour, and then your mix-in. And for this, like I said, I like to use peanut butter. All the materials you will need for this recipe are a handheld mixer or a stand mixer. I will be using a stand mixer. You will need a 9 by 13 inch dark metal baking pan. I am using this one. We use this pan in my house for making brownies and stuff like that. So I use that. Some sort of way to grease said pan. I will be using Pam, no pun intended, Pam. Anyway, I like to use Pam. The recipe says that you can grease it with butter, but I will be using non-stick cooking spray, parchment paper, a heat-safe measuring cup, a small saucepan, a sieve for sifting, and then a large mixing bowl. Okay, so your first step is to preheat your oven to 350 degrees and to line your pan with baking spray or butter and then put a piece of parchment paper in it. But I don't use parchment paper for this recipe because the pan that I use has a nifty little top for it. So we can easily save it. So I will not be using parchment paper, but this is where you will trace out with pencil the shape of your pan and then cut around the pencil and make sure you put the pencil side down in the pan because that burns in the oven, and also pencils have lead. So there is that step. Step 2 is to put the 8 ounces of chocolate, the espresso powder, and then 1/4 cup of your cocoa powder into that heat-safe measuring cup, because you're going to melt the 2.5 sticks of butter, or 1 1/4 cup of butter. And I realize now that I made a mistake when I showed y'all the ingredients, because I only had 1 in the little stick. And the 1 1/4 cups of butter is 2.5 sticks of butter. So what you're gonna do is you are going to put that in the medium saucepan, and there we go. And you are going to bring the butter to a boil and pour that over your chocolate mixture. Or not over the chocolate mixture, over the chocolate and the cocoa powder. Okay, so your next step is to pour the butter that you just take off the stove and put it in the heat-safe measuring cup and let that sit for 2 minutes. So my 2 minutes up. So now you're going to mix the butter, cocoa powder, and chocolate until it is smooth. I am going to be using a spatula for this, but you can also use a whisk. So I'm going to mix that up now, and I will show you the result of the mixture. Okay, so here is that resulting mixture. It's pretty chocolatey, as you can see. There are little powdery pieces from the cocoa powder on top, but that is okay. And then next, you're going to, in your bowl, if you're using a hand mixer or in your stand mixer, you're going to put your 2 cups sugar, the brown sugar, salt, vanilla, and eggs, and you're going to mix that until it reaches a pancake batter-like consistency. So in the book, it has for around 10 minutes, and I always like to just check because it's important that it gets that mixture, because the eggs might cook with the hot chocolate. Okay, so while that mixture is going, you can combine your dry ingredients, the flour, and the remaining 1/2 cup of cocoa powder, and you're going to sift that and then mix it together. That's why I didn't use a whisk for the chocolate mixture, because I like to use that for dry ingredients. So you can do that while your egg mixture is beating. Okay, so the mixture should look something like this. And I believe I only have like 2 or so minutes left. But with a stand mixer, it mixes pretty fast. So now with your mixture running, the mixture you're going to pour in your chocolate butter mixture. So I just poured in the chocolate mixture, and there's going to be a little bit of the mixture that can't be poured while the mixture is running. So after the majority of your chocolate mixture is mixed, I like to stop the stand mixer, lower it down, and then with the spatula, I just scraped down the sides of the measuring cup and poured the remaining mixture that was left in the cup into the stand mixer. So now I'm going to raise it back up and mix the little bit left of the chocolate mixture. Okay, so now you're going to add in the dry ingredients. So I just added in half of the dry ingredients into here, so that way you won't get a big dust cloud when you mix it. And then after that half is mixed in, you're gonna mix in the second half of your mixture. Okay, so I forgot to mention, so after step 5, which is when the mixer is running and you pour in the chocolate mixture, that is when you add your mix-ins. If you're not using the half cup ones. So if you're using a 2 tablespoon mix-in or a 1 cup mix-in, you would do it after you add in the chocolate mixture. But for me, here is my brownie mixture with no mix-ins, since I have one in the half cup section. As you can see, it is quite fluffy. So now what you're gonna do is put your brownie mixture into your pan, and then after you put your brownie mixture in the pan, what you're gonna do is put your half cup mix in. For me, it is peanut butter, and swirl it around the top. And you can use the spatula like what I have here. As you can see, the mixture is very, very thick and very, very fluffy. But you can use the spatula and swirl it around to create a cool design. Okay, so here is the pre-poured brownie mixture. And as you can see, I had to scrape off the spatula several times as I was pouring in the mixture because the mixture is so dense. But what you can do with that is take a wet paper towel and go around the edges of your pan to get rid of that. So now I'm going to add in the peanut butter and swirl it around, and I think I might have said this, or I may not have, but I put this in my microwave for about 30 seconds just to melt it enough to swirl it, because peanut butter enough is a little hard as is, so I put it in the microwave to soften it up a little bit. So now you're gonna add in the peanut butter to your brownie and swirl it around. Okay, so here is the finished brownie mixture. Like I said, you can wipe this off with a paper towel if you want. But now is the interesting part and the most time spending part. So now you're going to put this up in the oven for 20 minutes. And after that 20 minutes, you're going to take your brownies out of the oven and pat them down a couple of times to flatten them. And then you put them back in the oven for another 20 minutes until a toothpick is inserted and it comes out clean. Okay, so it's been about 20 or so minutes, and I just took these out of the oven and I patted it down with some oven mitts. Make sure you're wearing oven mitts too, because the pan is super hot. And as you can see, I'm going to put a glove on and shake it around. As you can see, the middle is still quite liquidy, which is why you have it in there for a total of 40 minutes. But I patted it down on my stovetop for, I want to say, like around 10 or so times. And now you're gonna take your oven mitts and put your brownies back into the oven for another 20 minutes. And while that was cooking, it's a good thing it cooks for 20 minutes, so you can clean your dishes. That's my dishwasher right there. So I clean my dishes and put them in the dishwasher. All right, so now put the brownies back in the oven for another 20 or so minutes. I'm gonna check them at around 18 with the toothpick method and see if they're done at 18 minutes. Okay, y'all, so after 20 more minutes, here are the finished brownies, and as you can see, here's a little hole. I actually did 3 little holes because I inserted 3 toothpicks around the brownie just to check. Here was the first one. As you can see, there's still a little bit stuck to it, which means if you like them more gooey and runny, I just leave it like this. But if you want it more firmer, put it back in the oven for however long. I just usually take it out after the 40 minutes. And now, here comes the even long waiting process. So in the book, it says that you have to wait for 2 hours for them to cool, which is completely insane, but just wait for these to cool. And yeah, there you have delicious brownies. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. If you do, give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe to this channel if you want to see more baking related videos. Comment down below which mix-in you think you will like. But yeah, I hope you guys have a good day. Bye, guys.